Hi, I'm Mark Randusky, and we're going to do a video today to show how to set up the Force Sensing Hub demo toolkit. So with this demo kit is going to be designed so that you can take this in conjunction with your local doorbell representative, bring this on site and actually do an in-field demonstration anywhere where you have 220 volt power. You can set up a G-Force or an Easy Arm, whether it's existing or a demo unit, and do this right in the plant floor or in some sort of a demo facility of your liking. The first thing we want to do here is, before we actually set up this Force Sensing Hub demo toolkit, we need to check our software version. We need version 1.07.3 or higher for this demo toolkit to be compatible. So the way we're going to check that is we're going to go into our menu. We're going to press and hold the right hand button here. We're going to go into program mode. Then we're going to toggle, press and release, until we toggle through and we see the service menu. And that's right after the LED menu. Okay, so once we have the service menu, we're going to go ahead and press the G-Force logo button here. We're going to press and release that until we see display system information, display system info. And then let that blink 3 times. And what's going to happen now is you're going to cycle through 4 pieces of information. It's going to show on time, run time, cycle count, and then the last thing what we're concerned with here is the software version. This says version 1.07.3, so we're all set. If you get that up there and it doesn't say 1.07.3, if it says 1.07.0 or just 1.07 or 0.71, that software is not going to be compatible. So you don't even go through the hassle of setting this up. You'll need to get that software downloaded before you can make that happen. What we're going to want to do first of all is we're going to, just so we don't have to hold the demo tool up in the air to attach it, we're going to want to make sure this is in a good position. I kind of try to keep this down pretty close to the table or my work surface where I'm going to be setting up my demo, so that the wire rope is going to be in a good position so I'm not having to hold the demo tool up when we attach it. I want to shut my e-stop off, and then what I want to do is go ahead and disconnect my connection right here at the top of the handle. Now once that's disconnected, I'll then take out this shoulder bolt here. Now in the demo area here, I have this for demo purposes, I have this finger tight. You may need an Allen wrench here, and there may be a jam nut on the end here depending on what your setup is. What I'm going to do is you're going to see me, this is assuming you've actually loosened the bolt. Now you can actually just take this shoulder bolt, unfasten it, hold the shoulder bolt out. Your footer comes out, that'll hang and stay with the coil cord. Put your shoulder bolt back in for safekeeping, and then you can set this aside. Okay, at this point, we're going to go over to our boxes. So we're going to start with box B. So there's 3 demo tools, so this will either be 1, 2, or 3, the number, but you're always going to want to start with B. So it'd be 1B, 2B, or 3B. So you open these latches. You're going to just take this, turn counterclockwise, flip it up, turn it counterclockwise, open your case. On the top, you're going to have your load demo, your demo load weight. You can take that out and just put it on the table where you're going to be doing the demo. On this one, there's a second layer here, second level. You're going to pick up this compartment here, and in here is your G360 remote mount base. Okay, the G360 is what you're going to attach to the footer here. That's going to go in place of our handle. So what we're going to do here is come in here. Now you see there's another shoulder bolt here. Take that out. Now when you put this footer back in, you'll see there's a connector side and a side without the connector. And you'll see on the footer there's a high side and a high side and a low side. You're going to want that high side over this connector when you put it in. And you also want to make sure that when this is all together, you want to have your wire rope dropped into the center of the footer from inside the coil cord here, like so. So it's all like this. And then you want to put your high side over the connector, drop it into place, like so. Make sure the top is flush here. And then what you want to do is take your shoulder bolt, push it back through here, and you notice here there is a threaded side and a through hole side. So you're going to want to look for the through hole side, and then you want to push your shoulder bolt back through the through hole side. And again, for demo purposes, I leave this finger tight. This isn't going to go anywhere. If you feel safer having the jam nut on there and locking it down, that's your prerogative. And then we, actually what I'm going to do is leave all the connections loose. I can connect all the cables once I get everything all set up. So I'm going to leave this hang here for 1 second. Okay, this is case 1A. Again, there'll be either 1, 2, or 3, but there'll always be a case. In the A case, let's open it up. You'll see we have the main force sensing hub demo tool. We have the handle here, and then the cable assembly. So what you want to do is just bring this out. It's not too heavy. That's your force sensing hub tool. We'll set that aside. Then you'll take out your handle and your remote mount cable. Now this is all set up to be set up with no tools, or as few tools as possible. So this little piece right here drops right in. You'll notice there's a through hole in this threaded rod right here. You drop that in, line up the holes, look for the locking pin here that's tethered closest to the closest to this point. You want to use this locking pin right here. And then what you want to do is, I like to actually push through from this direction. I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to line up that hole. I'm going to push my ball lock pin through, and then that's going to be my connection point. So you don't need any tools to do that. Now the reason I did put the T-handle on this side is going to give me a little more room to connect the cabling on this side. So the next thing I'm going to go get out here is my cable. And I want to make sure before I start connecting any cables that this E-stop is pushed down, okay? So we'll do that. And what we'll do is we're going to come in here, and from the top, now these connections are keyed, right? So the way I do this is I push this into the top, and I kind of just twist it. You can actually look, if you don't have good light, it's going to be hard to see this. But you can actually see there's a key here. If you look at the top, you can see the key. You can kind of get in the general vicinity, but if you push down and kind of turn it, so you can see that the key is not actually dropping in. If I rotate this, it'll drop down, right? And then I just kind of hold it firmly with one hand, apply a little downward pressure, and make that connection there. Now this connection on top, I usually take a couple of wraps around the base here, and I want to go in this direction. I'll show you why in a second. Go a couple times around, maybe 3 times around here, and I'm going to look for this connection. The reason I went in that direction is because this connection, the key is set up so it's going to fit in this direction, okay? So this right angle connector is going to be pointing that way when the key fits, okay? Once that key fits, the same thing, I just kind of push upward and screw that into place. At that point, I can go ahead and do this connection as well. Again, double check, make sure your E-stop is off. And then put this connector back on. And that's the last connection we need to make this actually work. Now at this point, I'm going to put the handle on here in a second, but I want to point out something here that's going to be important. You're going to need to actually tear out the handle weight that we have on here. And if you notice here, there's a mechanism, there's a little slide here, and when this is down on the surface, that little point right there, this little rod right here, is pushing upward on this connection point. This connection point is where we're going to put our handle, and it's the point that needs to be zeroed out so that when we actually apply upward and downward force on these clamp collars, that's where our load cell is. Okay, so what I want to do at this point is make sure my tool is actually hanging in this orientation. It needs to be hanging freely before I put the handle on and do the TARE function. Okay, so I'm going to put my handle on down here. So when you first power up, before you've done the TARE, you will likely have a command warning. It'll tell you to cycle the E-stop. What you want to do is don't cycle the E-stop just yet. You're going to need to tear out this handle weight. The way we do that is press and hold the menu button until we get into program mode. Then we press and release this until we toggle to fast 0 FSH. And then we're going to use, now we have to make sure that only the handle is hanging here. Make sure this piece is not in contact with the bottom of this, only the handle. Once you know that just the handle weight is on there, you'll press this, let it record the data, and then it'll both clear the error and it'll be ready for use. And you can just grab the handle and that'll move up and down. Okay, so at that point we're pretty much ready to do our demo. So the way this tooling works is that every time, if it's in the unclamped mode, and I press upward, it's going to release, and these little ears come out, and these little ears are going to grab the inner diameter of this tool. So this goes back in the up position, it's going to latch and it's going to hold. So it's like it's a pantograph type of tool here, but it's using an ID grip. It translates into an ID grip into the jaws here. So effectively what that does is I come down here, every time I go into this load weight for demonstration purposes, it'll lift, and every time I put it down every other time, it's going to latch. One more time. Okay, so what this is going to do is every time that I come down and insert into the tooling, it's going to grab it, and the next time I go down, and I have to bottom out. To be able to actuate that, it has to go all the way to the bottom and completely collapse that pantograph. But every other time, it's going to either grip or release. Okay, so that's the tooling. That's how the tooling portion of it works. But what we're really here to show is the force sensing handle. Now the force sensing hub, the way this works is, this hub again is not actually a handle, it's a hub. This allows any tooling integrator to attach any handle of any type that they want to this point right here. So these clamp collars, everything, the blue hub and these clamp collars and this G360 and above is all, that's the Gorbal product. Everything here down below, in this case, is made by Aimco, but it could be any tooling integrator. And what this offers you is the ability and the flexibility to pretty much wrap your tooling, integrate your tooling around the hub. And the hub becomes a control mechanism within your tooling. That's why this tooling can be so nice and compact and very effective. Okay, now this handle at this point, you can put up to 25 pounds of handlebar weight. So from this point here, you can have a maximum of 25 pounds worth of handlebar weight. We also allow you a cantilever outward of up to 24 inches, okay? So for tooling integration. So that's something you can show. And again, this demo tool is just a nice little short compact tool to get, to let people in the field see that how this works. And it's really very much of a float mode feel. Now, if for float mode, this particular, this unit would feel very much like float mode. With the force sensing hub, when you put up or downward pressure on here, it feels like float mode. However, if you grab this part and try to move it up or down, you're not really in float mode, but it kind of feels like it as long as you're on the handle. Now you can imagine if these handles were a little bit bigger and a little taller, anywhere an operator would grab onto those handles would actually give you the feel of float mode anywhere they grabbed on that handlebar. The only thing you don't get is the ability to move up or down in this mode. However, you can still press this button here and actually go into float mode. Okay, so that ability still exists. Okay, so that's pretty much the force sensing hub demo. There is one other thing we're going to need to check here. And if you do hook up this unit to your Easy Arm or G-Force in the field, and as you're going up and down, if you feel a little bit of chatter, and I might be able to simulate that for you here, you do need to go into the menu and change one other thing. What I'm going to do is have you do is go into the menu mode. Again, press and hold the menu button, and we're going to toggle through until we see the settings menu. Now, if you're on an IQ, there's two settings menus, settings menu and settings menu 2. Settings menu 2 is only on an IQ model. So if you have an IQ model, you don't want to go to settings menu 2, you want to go to settings menu. So you don't want settings menu 2, you want settings menu only. Okay, so then I want to, when I'm in settings menu, I want to press and release the G-Force logo button here under the blue light. And I want to look for my FSH handle sub menu. Let that blink 3 times. Now, because this is already set up, this is going to show me that I'm going to toggle to the inline version. So it's going to say change to inline. Okay, so now this is where I'm going to simulate what might happen to you if you haven't made this change. Because what you're doing with this change, you're going to change it from the inline version, which we started with that inline slide handle. You need to change this to the remote setting in this menu. And what will probably happen is, you might be able to see it's a little faster, but it's a little choppy. It doesn't behave. It might chatter a little bit when you're in the up-down direction, and that's because the inline handle accelerations and speeds are a little different than they would be with the force sensing hub. That's why the force sensing hub has kind of that float mode type of feel. So if you get that kind of choppy, jittery motion, you're going to want to make sure you set this up for the remote mount handle configuration. So what I want to do is go back into that and show you. I'm going to press and release, or press and hold, that is, press and hold the menu button. I'm going to toggle through to settings menu, not settings menu 2, but settings menu. And I went by it, so I'll go back around. It's a rotary menu. It'll always come back around if you miss what you intended to. So settings menu, I'm going to use the G-Force logo button here. And I'm going to look for my FSH menu. FSH handle sub-menu. Go into that, and once we're into the sub-menu, I'm going to press and release this again until I find where it says change to, it'll say change to remote, okay? So that's what you want. When this is on here, you want to be in the remote. So again, the way this works is if you're in the inline, if it's already been switched to inline, it'll say change to remote. If it's in the remote configuration, when you come to that same setting, it's going to say change to inline. So you want to change to inline before you pack everything up and put your demo back together, so the next time you'll be ready to demonstrate it with your inline slide handle. But for these purposes of this demonstration, you want to have that in the remote setting, okay? So with that said, I'm going to go back and we'll break this down and we'll go through packing this back into the boxes. When you're repackaging the case, make sure everything goes back where it belongs. I'll show you how this goes together. You're going to lift up this layer here, this cover. You're going to take the G360. You're going to place it with this pointing this way. Make sure that fits all the way in. This has to be level so that this can close flat inside. Then you're going to take your demo load weight and you're going to put it on top, like that. Once you do that, close the case. Make sure that when you close the latch and turn it, you got to make sure this hook clips over the top of that, otherwise it won't be secure. And now the case is ready to ship. So in this case, you'll notice here that this side and this side are specifically cut out for this demo tool to go in a very specific way. So when we put this back in the case, you want to make sure the head of the tool is in here. Place it in here so everything kind of fits in its place like this. You want the jaws down here, you want the force sensing hub here, and you want this section to go in this piece. So that's all in its place here. Make sure this is flat with the plane of the box. Then you take your handle, you'll put that right back in here like this, sets right inside. Then you want to take your cable, just coil it up once like so, and just stick it right there. You're done. Make sure everything is down here so nothing gets pinched or nothing. Make sure this isn't hanging over the side like this when you make sure everything's inside the case, and then we'll close it back down. Again, make sure these hooks latch over the top, make sure they're secure, and this one's ready to ship. So that concludes our force sensing hub demo tool video. I hope this is beneficial for you. It'll show you all the features and benefits of the force sensing hub with tooling around it, because if you just see the hub, you can't really do anything with it. What this demo kit does for you that the literature won't is actually let you get your hands on the hub itself and see how the tooling works along with it. So once again, I'm Mark Randusky. We hope you come back for the next video, and we'll see you then.